Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 765 for the 29th of March. And the future is now. The future is today, because the crazy, not crazy, but no, the imagination is now a reality. So the Russians have deployed robotic platforms or drones, surface tracked drones with heavy machine gun on it. And this is actually being mentioned to be fighting in the area of Avdiivka Front in the battle towards Umanske. So this is the actually the thingy, and I can zoom in a bit more. You can see that this is actually a tracked vehicle, and you can see the heavy machine gun, some kind of a GPMG. Of course, GPMG is a NATO weapon. I forgot what is the Russian version called. So there's two of them. They're operating together. Reminds me of how the Russians deploy fighter jets, because they always work in pairs. So these two work in pairs. They can actually support each other. And this would be a freaking nightmare for any infantry that's on the ground, because you know that you're fighting for your life, and whatever you kill isn't alive. And it may be harder to kill, and also that if you kill it, it doesn't reduce the fighting strength of your enemy, and this is going to be rather disastrous. And so this is pretty recent, I believe. I'm not sure what is this. I think it's March in Russian. I have no idea, but it's on the 28th. So this is really new. I'm not sure this image taken is actually from the Russian or from the Ukrainian side. I'm not very aware. I think this is reported by the Ukrainian side. So it could be a Ukrainian drone footage or image, but we shall see how this goes. Very frightening situation now developing in Ukraine. We are now living in the future. So Frontline changes report. The first one is over at Klishchiivka. So over at Klishchiivka, previously we have mentioned that the Ukrainian forces have taken a bit of ground, wrong color, a bit of ground in the north of Klishchiivka. And so the latest geolocation shows Ukrainian forces to be around here, which means that the most likelihood is that the Ukrainians have retaken most of this forest line around this area here. So there is this, let me use another color. There is this advance by the Ukrainians taking this area here, which resulted in the Russians deciding to bombard them in this area here. The geolocation is of a TOS-1, TOS-1A, as well as FPV drone attacking Ukrainian forces along this area here. So this actually invalidated the previous Russian capture, which the Russians actually moved their forces in this area here and was geolocated around here. So now apparently the attack is just one-off, and that the Russians actually did not manage to hold ground in this area here. So that's all for the Klishchiivka. And in case you do not know, this is Bakhmut, and this is Klishchiivka. So this is in the Bakhmut Front. And the next frontline change is over at Avdiivka Front at Tonenke. So this is Avdiivka city. Tonenke is over here. At Tonenke, there is geolocation of a ammunition depot allegedly destroyed. There's a big explosion. This actually happens in a Russian controlled place. So it's not sure. There's a possible Ukrainian presence. It could be archival footage. We are not sure. So there's a possibility that the Ukrainians are here. Maybe they are not. So we will keep this as a gray zone, overlapping mapping. The next frontline change is also at Avdiivka Front, just further south. In the latest mapping by Deep State UA, they have declared the Russian forces have taken even more grounds in Pervomaiske. This time round, they have captured most of the town center, with the Russian forces probably attacking in a pincer and taking most of this town center. And is pretty soon there will be no more Pervomaiske left for the Russians to capture, and the battle will move on to the next town, which is Netelove. So the Ukrainian forces still left with this line of these two lines of houses around here, as well as a possibility of this industrial area in this southern part of this remaining lines. So the Russian forces are heading pretty fast, and so if I move a bit here, you'll probably see better. So let me move this entire drawing around here. So the Russians are attacking in this direction, and they will be heading towards Netlove in this attack. Something wrong with my mouse. I think my mouse is a bit dirty. Can I move it a bit slower? Yeah. So in this area here, they are moving there. So yeah, the Pervomaiske has been a long time coming. There has been a very, very long battle. The battle here has been ongoing for the most part of the 2 years. Anyway, moving on to the last frontline change is over at Heorhiivka, over at the Donetsk Front. So the latest mapping by Ryber have claimed that the Russians have entered into the central region of Heorhiivka. So they have entered into this area here, and the battle is still ongoing. We shall continue to monitor and see, how this goes. This looks quite a big penetration. As you can see, this penetration is pretty big. So we shall see how the Russian progress, whether they will actually move. Let me change color. Move south, capturing the industrial zone, or they will do both of it, including attacking through the center to capture the rest of Heorhiivka. And of course, there is still a northern area here which is still heavily defended by the Ukrainians. We will see how this progress over on this Heorhiivka. And that's all for the frontline changes report. I just realized I'm a bit dark, so yeah. So that's all for this frontline changes report. Another major news is that there's a missile strike on the Kreminna hydroelectric power plant. Kreminna is here, and there is this dam around here, and there is this very big explosion happening on both sides of this hydroelectric power plant. It might have disabled the entire electrical power plant at this area here. This is also reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. They did not mention exactly where they hit, but they did mention that the objective is actually against air defense facilities as well as power generation. So this is a stark change to the past 2 years of Russian operation, because the Russians have been very reluctant to hit power generators. So to disrupt the power grid, what they hit is actually the transformers. They're usually hitting this facility that help to transfer electricity, and they avoided hitting the actual power plant. They only hit a few, I think in the Kharkiv region, very, very few. Now we are seeing massive attacks on these areas here. They have already hit the one at Zaporizhzhia, and of course the one at Kakhovka is gone. Now they hit the one at Kreminna. So I'm not sure if this will continue. If they continue to hit all these power generation areas, we're gonna see a lot of electrical or energy needs problems in Ukraine. So that's all for this area. And there's also one more interesting missile strike is over at Heorhiivka, or just off Melanivka. So Heorhiivka is, if you followed DPA's reporting since the beginning, you will probably know this city a bit well. This is one of the front lines, and some confusion whether the Russians have captured it or not captured it. There's a major airbase at Heorhiivka, and just in the southeast of Heorhiivka, there is this missile strike. And on this missile strike, it's actually hitting some. I wonder if you can see. It hit some field camp. There's a field camp around this area here. Basically, is military encampment, where the military set up camp within the forest region. It's probably hidden from public, but from a drone or satellite imagery, it's rather obvious. And so yeah, you can probably see some of this field, and then the tentage, and then there was some kind of a huge explosion with some kind of a shrapnel or cluster effect, cluster munition effect, hitting everything in the major semicircle, and then there was a second strike on the other side. So rather interesting, if you ask me, rather interesting that they managed to find something this far into the rear positions and hitting the Ukrainian forces back there. And all these bombardments, in the Kharkiv region, keep giving me the vibe that the Russians have intention to come back again. But I still feel like it's not the time yet. It's still not the time for the Russians to enter yet. I think they still need to wear down the Ukrainian forces much more. So we move into the Kherson Front. At the Kherson Front, there is no fighting being reported at the beachheads or the bridgeheads. There is, however, shelling report at Avdiivka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, as well as Zolota Balka in the Kherson region. So this is the only two strikes being reported, or the two attacks being reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. There is no geolocation of anything. And moving into the Zaporizhzhia Front, at the Heorhiivka sector, the Russian forces continue their attack in the Robotine as well as the northwest of Verbove region. This continues over. This has been continuing for some time. No, I don't think we should expect much from this. Probably very positional in nature. Over the Huepole sector, the Russian forces are attacking Milanivka, according to the information from the Russian Defense Ministry. So we shall continue to monitor. I think this is just some kind of fire attack. Over at the Velika Novosibirsk sector of the Donetsk Front, Russian forces continue their attack over at Staromaiske as well as Uruzhaine. There is also attack towards Makariivka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. Ukrainian forces counter-attack at Prione. There is a video, a drone footage of... Oops, I didn't expect... Okay, again. Drone footage of airstrike. And this airstrike is actually particularly accurate. You can actually catch it on DPA Archive YouTube channel. So I can show you again. You basically, in the video, you can see the bomb drop, and it hits exactly on the house, one of the house, and then another hit towards the right side. And whatever is there is definitely dead by now. And you can see the footage is entirely flattened, whatever is meant to hit. So it's a good show of the accuracy of the fat bombs, or these glide bombs. I think that is pretty impressive video footage, which is why I actually put it in the archive. So that's all from the Velika Novosibirsk sector. I think the Russians are really looking to take back these three towns, Makariivka, Staromaiske, and Uruzhaine, in the near future, given the amount of shelling. But of course, it could also be a kind of attrition. So then maybe they are not going to capture them, just to keep killing whatever the Ukrainians are sending to defend these three towns. Ukrainians, of course, being Ukrainians, they will want to hold every single town that they have captured, and of course that will put themselves in a death trap. Then the Russians would have no need to capture the towns, because they can just destroy the Ukrainian military just by hitting whatever they sent. So over at the Voleda sector of the Donetsk Front, fighting was reported towards Vodian, according to information from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So that's about it. We don't have any other information about this. Then we go into the Marinka sector. Over at Tonenke, there is shelling being reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. Russian forces continue their attack in Novomikhailivka, Georgievka, and Krasnohorivka. So these three major battles continue. These are all battles within the settlement. No battle of Novomikhailivka, battle of Georgievka, battle of Krasnohorivka. These are all major battles. So this is a rather interesting front line, because all the battles are within the settlement. But there is very little interest in these three settlements, as far as I can tell, from the public discussion. And there's geolocation of artillery hitting Ukrainian pickup, and then there's another major airstrike on Krasnohorivka. but that's about it. Heorhiivka situation, as I already mentioned, the Russian forces have entered into the center, and this is on top of the Russians have huge grounds captured, in the north of Heorhiivka. They are still holding the grounds. Ukrainians are holding the rivers and the lakes in the north as the major front line. Ukrainians, of course, are holding the tree lines around here. So there's a standoff in the north as the Russians continue to push through the center. So that's all for the Donetsk Front. And over at the Avdiivka Front, Russian forces are going back on their offensive actions with fighting reported. Let me zoom out a bit. At Pervomaiske, at Tonenke towards Umanske and Badaichi, Ukrainian forces counterattack at Badaichi, Tonenke, as well as Pervomaiske. So strategic situation, it looks like this. If I zoom in a bit, so we focus on the southern part first. Russian forces are penetrating through Pervomaiske, hitting the center. So pretty soon they probably take the rest of Pervomaiske and hit Netelove. Of course, there's a geolocation, putting in doubts about the Russian advance in Tonenke region, but the Russians are pushing out of Tonenke and also in the direction of Umanske. Ukrainian forces are counter-attacking Tonenke to stop this advance. So this is the situation in the southern part. In the northern part, which is actually the Badaichi region, there is not much details. There is just a clash being reported by the two sides. Russian and Ukrainian Defense Ministry both say they are on the defensive in Badaichi. So that's all for the Avdiivka Front. Over at the New York Front, Ukrainian forces restarted the attack in the New York region towards Heorhiivka, but that's about it. We have no other information. And moving into the Bakhmut Front, southern flank, Russian forces attacking Klishchiivka, Avdiivka, and the return of fighting at Kupyansk. So Kupyansk we haven't seen the fighting being reported here since the 23rd. So that's around a week. We haven't seen the fighting over here for a week. And geolocation in the north showed Ukrainian advance. So which means that the Ukrainians at some point managed to capture some ground in the north. But that's about it. Over at the northern flank, the Russian forces continue to push towards Chasivia along the road towards Novi, and the Ukrainian forces counterattack at Ivaniski. There is forward positions getting geolocated under fire by the Ukrainians, continue to show the possibility that the Russians actually did not capture Ivaniski at all. So whatever claims by the Russian Defense Ministry, this is totally false news. There is airstrike at Novi as well as FPV drone strike over at Kreminna. At Mykolaiv, there is a shelling report by the Russian Defense Ministry. So these are the various strikes. And the Ukrainian Defense Ministry did mention repelling attack at Chasivia, which is kind of weird. So we'll continue to monitor this. And that's all for the Bakhmut Front. So moving on, at the Siversk Front, there is nothing in the south. All these reports are not being reported anymore. Sperne also not being reported. The only one is the Russians' attack at Heorhiivka in the Luhansk region. So we have no idea what's the frontline situation right now over at Heorhiivka. Despite all the reports of the fighting around this town, there is no updates in terms of mapping. Very unloved. No, this Heorhiivka is it's going to become someone that so sad. Anyway, over at the Kreminna Front, Russian forces attacking at Terny. Ukrainian forces are also clashing with them. So that's all for the Kreminna Front, fighting only at Terny. Basically, that's the same thing every day. And moving up north, nothing has spread away. At the Kupyansk Front, for the first time in a long time, we have zero reports. At the Kupyansk Front, the entire front line has went dead. Moving into the Kharkiv-Belgorod Front, there's nothing being reported here. Over at the Sumy region, there is a geolocation of FPV drone strike on Ukrainian forces near Staryviki. So that's all. Just one drone strike over there. And that's about it. So this is the summary for the day of 765 for the 29th of March. Press the like button. Really, press the like button. Don't press it. No, hit it. No, whack it. No, smack it. No, and then kiss it. And then also subscribe if you are new to this channel. Do subscribe. Do share this with your friends and family on your social media. Just spam it. And hopefully that helps to grow DPA. And I'll see you guys in the next update.